The discovery that changed humanity's destiny forever came not with a bang, but with a quiet ping from a mining probe in the Vega system. Admiral Jasper Kane stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display showing the unusual energy signatures emanating from Vega VI's northern continent. "Admiral, the geological team reports the structure extends at least 2 kilometers beneath the surface," Lieutenant Major reported, her fingers dancing across the sensor controls. "Energy readings suggest it's still active." Kane stroked his silver beard, studying the crystalline formations that had been uncovered by the mining operation. After 2 centuries of space exploration, humanity had finally found proof they weren't alone. The structure's architecture was clearly artificial, its geometric patterns too precise to be natural. "Get me Dr. Nikolai Volkov," Kane ordered. Within moments, the chief xenoarchaeologist's hologram materialized on the bridge. Volkov's eyes sparkled with barely contained excitement as he gestured to the 3D renderings floating before him. "Admiral, this is beyond anything we've ever encountered. The technology appears to be based on principles we've barely begun to theorize about. The crystal matrices seem to be some kind of quantum computer network, but operating at a scale that makes our most advanced systems look primitive." Before Kane could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. "Multiple gravitational anomalies detected," Zhou shouted. "Massive objects emerging from subspace." The view screen filled with a sight that would be forever burned into human history. 7 massive vessels, each one easily dwarfing the horizon, materialized in high orbit. Their hulls seemed to ripple like liquid metal, defying conventional physics. "Incoming transmission," Communications Officer Raj Patel announced, his voice tight with tension. The holographic display shifted, revealing a being that sent whispers of shock through the bridge crew. The alien was humanoid but clearly not human, with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to contain swirling galaxies. "I am Overseer Xylith of the Nexus Dominion," the being announced in perfect English, its voice resonating with harmonics that made the air vibrate. "You have accessed one of our seed vaults. This system, and all others marked by our beacons, fall under Dominion protection. Your presence here is a violation of cosmic law." Admiral Kane stepped forward, maintaining his composure. "I am Admiral Jasper Kane of the United Earth Space Force. We had no knowledge of your claim to this system. We are willing to discuss." "Discussion is unnecessary," Xylith interrupted. "The Dominion has stewarded these worlds for millions of years, seeding them with our technology to guide their evolution. Your species is young, barely able to grasp the principles behind our smallest achievements. You will withdraw from all systems containing our markers within 1 standard solar cycle. This is not negotiable." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving a stunned silence on the bridge. Kane's jaw tightened as he processed the implications. 17 colonies. Millions of human lives. All threatened by an alien power that viewed humanity as little more than children playing with forces beyond their understanding. Within hours, the Dominion's ultimatum reached Earth. The Colonial Council convened an emergency session, but the decision was virtually unanimous. Humanity would not bow to alien demands, no matter how advanced their would-be overlords might be. Director Helena Blackwood of Earth's Defense Forces laid out humanity's response. "We've spent centuries preparing for first contact, building our defenses, advancing our technology. The Dominion may be more advanced, but they've shown their hand too early. They expect us to submit out of fear and awe. They don't understand human nature." Over the following months, tension mounted across human space. The Dominion maintained a presence in every system containing their markers, monitoring human activity but taking no direct action. They seemed content to wait for humanity to accept the inevitable and withdraw peacefully. They didn't understand that every day they waited gave humanity time to prepare. Research teams led by Dr. Volkov worked around the clock studying the seed vault's technology. Military installations were hardened against quantum-based weapons. New defensive systems were developed based on the principles observed in Dominion technology. The breaking point came 6 months into the standoff. A colonial transport carrying civilians to the Perseus colony refused to alter course when a Dominion vessel appeared in its path. The alien ship responded by generating a quantum field that completely disabled the transport systems. As the colonial ship drifted powerless, a small human corvette named the Defiant dropped out of stealth nearby. Its captain, Victoria Reed, had been waiting for just such an opportunity. The Defiant carried an experimental weapon developed from research into the seed vaults technology. The quantum disruptor beam struck the Dominion vessel before its sensors could detect the human ship's presence. For a brief moment, the alien vessel's perfect geometry wavered, its quantum field collapsing as human-made chaos was introduced into its systems. Captain Reed's voice was cold as she transmitted a message to the crippled alien ship: "This is humanity's answer to your ultimatum. We will not submit. We will not withdraw. And we are not as helpless as you believed." The first shot of humanity's greatest war had been fired. The Nexus Dominion was about to learn that threatening human colonies was a grave mistake. The Nexus Dominion's response to Captain Reed's act of defiance was swift and terrible. Within hours of the Defiant's attack, massive Dominion warships emerged from subspace above every human colony world. Their message was broadcast simultaneously across all frequencies: surrender or face extinction. In the command center beneath New Geneva, Director Helena Blackwood watched the tactical displays with grim determination. The Dominion's forces outnumbered Earth's fleet 10-1, their ships bristling with weapons that could reduce planets to ash. "They're trying to intimidate us with a show of force," Admiral Kane observed, his hologram flickering beside her. "But they haven't attacked yet. They're still hoping we'll surrender without a fight." "Then they've learned nothing about us," Blackwood replied. She opened a secure channel to all Earth Force commanders. "Initialize Operation Thunderstrike. Authorization code, Prometheus." Across human space, hidden installations buried deep within asteroid fields and beneath planetary crusts hummed to life. Dr. Volkov's research into the seed vaults technology had yielded more than just defensive measures. The quantum disruption field that Captain Reed had tested was only the beginning. The Dominion ships above New Terra were the first to detect something wrong. Their quantum sensors registered massive energy spikes from the planet's surface, but the readings made no sense. Human technology shouldn't have been capable of generating such effects. Commander Zena Wright, directing New Terra's defense from the underground base designated Bunker 1, gave the order: "Activate the quantum mirrors." Devices reversed-engineered from the seed vaults technology created overlapping fields of distorted spacetime around the colony. The Dominion's sophisticated targeting systems suddenly found themselves trying to lock onto targets that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. "Fascinating," Overseer Xylith observed from the bridge of the Dominion flagship. "They've managed to weaponize uncertainty itself. Crude, but clever." Their galaxy eyes narrowed. "Commence the purge. This species is too dangerous to be allowed to develop further." But as the Dominion ships charged their main weapons, humanity revealed its true strategy. From hidden bases across the colony systems, thousands of small craft emerged. Each carried only 2 crew members and a specially modified quantum disruptor. "Strike teams, execute attack pattern Delta," Commander Wright ordered. The small craft, nicknamed Wasps by their pilots, darted between the massive Dominion vessels. Their quantum disruptors were too weak to disable the larger ships completely, but they didn't need to. Captain Yuki Tanaka, leading the first wave of Wasps, targeted the precise points where the Dominion ship's quantum fields were weakest. Like acupuncture, she had explained during the mission briefing. "We don't need to destroy their ships. We just need to disrupt their energy flow at the right points." The space above New Terra erupted in chaos. Dominion weapons fire splashed harmlessly through quantum mirrors while human strike craft systematically degraded their ships' defensive fields. The alien superior technology meant nothing if they couldn't bring it to bear effectively. On Earth, Director Blackwood received urgent communications from the other colonies. The same scene was playing out across human space. The Dominion's overwhelming force was being countered by human ingenuity and desperate courage. But victory came at a terrible cost. Half the WASP squadrons were lost in the initial engagement, their crews sacrificing themselves to ensure their targets were hit. The quantum mirrors couldn't maintain their fields indefinitely, and some Dominion weapons found their marks. In orbit above New Terra, Captain Tanaka's WASP spun out of control, its systems failing after a glancing hit from a Dominion energy beam. As her craft tumbled toward the atmosphere, she managed one final transmission: Target Gamma 7 neutralized. Tell them we showed them what humanity can do. The Battle of New Terra, as it would come to be known, lasted less than 6 hours. When it was over, the mighty Dominion fleet had been forced to retreat, their quantum technology rendered unreliable by human attacks. But 3 million colonists had died in the fighting, and the surface of New Terra would bear the scars of Dominion weapons fire for centuries to come. In the aftermath, Admiral Kane and Director Blackwood met with the Colonial Council. The holograms of colonial leaders filled the chamber, their faces showing a mixture of grief and determination. "We've proven we can fight them," Kane reported. But this was only the beginning. The Dominion will adapt their tactics, develop countermeasures to our quantum disruption technology. We need to push our advantage while we have it. Director Blackwood nodded. Dr. Volkov's team has made another breakthrough. We've learned enough about their quantum technology to attempt something they clearly believe impossible. She activated a holographic display showing schematics for a massive device. We're calling it Project Oracle. If it works, it will allow us to predict the quantum state of Dominion ships before they emerge from subspace. And if it doesn't work, ask the governor of New Terra, her hologram still showing damage from the recent battle. Then we find another way, Blackwood replied firmly. The Dominion thought they could intimidate us into submission. Instead, they've united humanity like never before. We'll keep fighting, keep adapting, keep advancing until we've earned our place among the stars. As the meeting concluded, Admiral Kane remained behind, studying the casualty reports from the battle. Captain Tanaka's name was just one among thousands, but each loss weighed heavily on him. The Dominion had started this war believing humans were primitive beings unworthy of respect. They would learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology, but the indomitable spirit that drove them to rise above every challenge, no matter the cost. In the depths of Mars' underground research facility, Olympus Labs, Dr. Nikolai Volkov stood before a twisted piece of Dominion technology salvaged from the Battle of New Terra. The alien metal seemed to ripple and shift even now, months after being separated from its parent vessel. Behind him, Director Blackwood and Admiral Kane watched through reinforced quantum-shielded glass. "We've finally cracked their basic operating principles," Volkov announced, his voice filled with carefully controlled excitement. "The Dominion doesn't just use quantum mechanics, they've found a way to manipulate the fundamental fabric of reality itself. Their ships don't just travel through space, they negotiate with it." The salvaged component pulsed with an inner light as Volkov activated the test chamber's sensors. Streams of data filled the surrounding holographic displays, showing energy patterns that defied conventional physics. "But here's what they never expected," he continued. "Their technology requires perfect harmony, perfect resonance with the quantum field. By introducing chaos, human chaos, we can disrupt that harmony. And now, we can do more than just disrupt it. We can hijack it." The demonstration that followed changed the course of the war. Project Oracle, the massive predictive engine that Blackwood had proposed, was just the beginning. Humanity had spent centuries developing computers that imposed order on chaos. Now they were learning to use chaos itself as a weapon. Commander Marcus Torres, leading the recently formed Quantum Warfare Division, oversaw the integration of the new technology into Earth's military forces. "Every defeat teaches us something new," he explained to his officers. The Dominion's perfect quantum harmonies can't handle human unpredictability. We're turning our greatest weakness into our greatest strength. The first test of the new quantum chaos weapons came 3 months after the Battle of New Terra. A Dominion fleet attempted to establish a blockade around the Proxima Centauri colony. They expected to face the same quantum disruption tactics that had driven them back before. Instead, they encountered something entirely new. Fleet Captain Amara Okafor commanded the defense from the bridge of the newly commissioned UES Prometheus. The massive vessel represented humanity's first attempt at combining their own technology with reverse-engineered Dominion systems. Initialize the chaos field, Okafor ordered. The Prometheus's quantum core, deliberately designed to be imperfect and unstable, began generating waves of probability fluctuations. To the Dominion sensors, the human ship seemed to exist in thousands of possible states simultaneously. The alien vessels, their systems dependent on precise quantum measurements, found themselves unable to lock onto their targets. Their energy weapons passed harmlessly through phantom images while the real human ship struck from unexpected vectors. But the Dominion was far from defeated. They began adapting their tactics, learning to compensate for human chaos-based technology. Each engagement became more desperate as both sides evolved their strategies and capabilities. Dr. Jean Park, working with Volkov's team, made the next breakthrough. Studying the quantum communication patterns between Dominion ships, she discovered something unexpected. They're not just communicating, she reported to the War Council. Their entire fleet operates as a single quantum-entangled entity. That's how they coordinate so perfectly. The discovery led to the development of the quantum virus, a weapon that could propagate through the Dominion's own communication network, spreading chaos through their perfectly ordered systems. The first deployment of the quantum virus during the Battle of Epsilon Eridani demonstrated its devastating potential. When the virus activated, the entire Dominion battle group became quantum entangled with a small piece of deliberately chaotic human technology. Their ships began acting erratically, their perfect formation dissolving into confusion. But victory still came at a terrible price. The quantum virus required a human pilot to physically merge with the chaotic quantum field, their consciousness becoming the random element that the Dominion systems couldn't predict or counter. Lieutenant Kira Patel volunteered for the first mission, knowing it was likely a one-way trip. Her last transmission before initiating the quantum merge became a rallying cry for the human forces. They thought order would always triumph over chaos. Let's show them how creative chaos can be. The success at Epsilon Eridani marked a turning point in the war. Humanity had moved beyond simply defending against Dominion technology. They were now actively subverting it, turning the aliens' greatest strengths into vulnerabilities. In the aftermath of the battle, Admiral Kane and Director Blackwood met with Dr. Volkov and his team to discuss the next phase of technological development. The holographic displays showed the progress of Project Ascension, humanity's most ambitious undertaking yet. We're not just reverse engineering their technology anymore, Volkov explained, his eyes bright with the possibility of it all. We're forging our own path, creating something entirely new. The Dominion seeks perfect harmony with the universe. We're learning to dance with chaos itself. The schematics displayed showed a new class of ship, one that deliberately incorporated elements of randomness and uncertainty into its design. It would be harder to control than Dominion vessels, requiring human intuition and adaptability rather than perfect mathematical precision. They called us primitive, Director Blackwood observed, studying the plans. They never understood that our greatest strength lies in our imperfection, our ability to embrace chaos and uncertainty. Every time they force us to adapt, they make us stronger. As humanity's technological revolution continued, the Dominion began to realize their grave miscalculation. They had expected to find a primitive species that would either submit to their superior technology or be easily crushed. Instead, they had awakened a force of nature that grew stronger with each attempt to contain it. The orbital shipyards above Mars hummed with activity as the first vessels of humanity's new Prometheus fleet took shape. These ships represented everything humanity had learned in their war against the Dominion, hybrid vessels that combined reverse-engineered quantum technology with deliberately engineered chaos systems. Admiral Kane stood at the observation window of Strategic Command, watching the massive ships under construction. The UES Stormborn, first of the new fleet, was nearing completion. Its quantum core pulsed with an unsettling rhythm, a visual representation of humanity's new approach to space warfare. The Dominion is massing their forces at Sirius, Commander Torres reported, his hologram flickering with interference from the quantum fields being tested nearby. Our Oracle predictors suggest they're planning something big. They've called in ships from across their territory. Director Blackwood's expression hardened as she studied the intelligence reports. They're preparing to end this war in one decisive strike. Overseer Xylith has lost too much face among their leadership. They can't afford to let us continue developing our technology. The war had reached a critical phase. While humanity had achieved significant victories through guerrilla tactics and technological innovation, they couldn't match the Dominion's industrial capacity. Every human victory came at a costly price, while the Dominion seemed to have endless resources to draw upon. But humanity had one advantage the Dominion couldn't counter: desperation. With their backs against the wall, humans had achieved technological breakthroughs that the Dominion had considered impossible. Dr. Volkov's team had even begun to understand principles that the aliens themselves had never fully explored. Fleet Captain Okafor, now commanding the newly completed Stormborn, proposed a daring strategy. The Dominion expects us to defend our core systems. Their entire battle doctrine is built around overwhelming force against fixed positions. So let's do something they won't expect: we attack first. The plan was audacious to the point of insanity. While the Dominion gathered their forces at Sirius, humanity would launch a massive strike against their primary quantum network hub in the Arcturus system. The hub coordinated the quantum-entangled communications that allowed their fleets to operate with perfect synchronization. If we can disrupt their network, Dr. Park explained during the final briefing, their entire command and control structure will collapse. But there's a catch: we'll have to get a quantum virus carrier within direct contact range of their main processor core. Lieutenant Commander James Chen, one of the few survivors of the quantum virus program, volunteered immediately. My consciousness is already partially quantum entangled from previous missions. I have the best chance of surviving deep integration with their systems. The battle began at 0400 Earth Standard Time. The Stormborn led a fleet of 30 ships equipped with the latest chaos field generators. They dropped out of quantum space directly inside the Arcturus system's defensive perimeter, their arrival preceded by a massive burst of engineered quantum static that temporarily blinded the Dominion sensors. Primary target located, Chen reported from his position in the quantum integration chamber. His voice already sounded distant, his consciousness beginning to merge with the ship's chaos field. Beginning viral sequence upload. The Dominion's response was immediate and overwhelming. Hundreds of ships emerged from quantum space, their weapons already charging. But they faced something unlike anything they'd encountered before. The human fleet moved in patterns that defied prediction, their chaos field generators creating a storm of quantum probability that made traditional targeting impossible. The Stormborn itself seemed to dance through space, its movements guided by Chen's partially ascended consciousness working in concert with Captain Okafor's intuitive command style. They're trying to establish a quantum containment field, Torres reported from his tactical station. They want to force our ships into a single probability state where they can target us. Perfect, Okafor responded with a grim smile. That's exactly what we wanted them to do. She opened a channel to all ships. Execute Operation Wilderness. The human fleet's chaos generators suddenly synchronized, creating a cascading wave of quantum uncertainty that rode along the Dominion's own containment field. The aliens had created a perfect quantum connection to every ship in their fleet, exactly what Chen needed to upload the evolved quantum virus directly into their network. The effect was catastrophic for the Dominion. Ships began appearing in impossible positions, their quantum drives interpreting random commands as valid coordinates. Others found their weapon systems targeting friendly vessels as their targeting computers received contradictory quantum data. In the integration chamber, Chen's physical form began to dissolve as his consciousness spread through the Dominion's network. "Upload at 60%, he reported, his voice now barely recognizable as human. "Their quantum encryption is failing. I can see everything. Their entire history, their knowledge, it's all connected through the quantum network." Warning, the Stormborn's AI announced. Lieutenant Commander Chen's neural pattern is approaching critical dispersal. Quantum coherence failing. Just a little longer, Chen's voice came through the speakers, more concept than sound now. "Uploading final virus sequence. Tell Earth, tell them we did it. We showed them what humanity can really do." The quantum virus completed its spread through the Dominion network at the exact moment Chen's consciousness dispersed completely into the quantum field. His final act of chaos, the ultimate expression of human unpredictability, shattered the perfect order of the Dominion's greatest technological achievement. The Battle of Arcturus marked the moment when the balance of power shifted decisively. The Dominion's quantum network, the source of their greatest strength, had become a liability. Their perfectly ordered society had no defense against the creative chaos that humanity had unleashed within their systems. As the surviving human ships regrouped, Captain Okafor received a transmission from Earth. Director Blackwood's hologram appeared on the bridge, her expression a mixture of triumph and sorrow. The Dominion fleet at Sirius is in complete disarray. Their ships are jumping randomly between systems, unable to coordinate their movements. "You did it, Captain. You and Chen. You've given us our chance to end this war." The victory had cost humanity dearly, but it had proven something fundamental about their species. In pushing humans to the brink of extinction, the Dominion had forced them to evolve beyond anything either civilization had thought possible. The age of perfect order was ending, and a new era of controlled chaos was about to begin. In the months following the Battle of Arcturus, the galaxy witnessed an unprecedented transformation. The Dominion's once perfect network of quantum-linked worlds fell into disarray as the chaos virus spread through their systems, forcing them to shut down the very technology that had made them supreme for millions of years. Admiral Kane stood before the newly formed Terran Council, his hologram projected simultaneously to every human colony. Behind him, tactical displays showed the current state of the war, green indicators representing human-controlled systems steadily expanding, while the Dominion's red markers flickered and fragmented. "The Dominion is retreating on all fronts," he reported. "Their remaining ships are forced to operate independently, without the quantum network that made them so formidable. But we can't afford to grow complacent. They're still technologically advanced, and a cornered enemy is often the most dangerous." Dr. Volkov, now leading the Combined Sciences Division, stepped forward. The war had aged him, but his eyes still burned with the same intensity. "We've made another breakthrough." The quantum consciousness pattern left behind by Commander Chen didn't dissipate as we initially thought. It's evolved, becoming something entirely new. The holographic displays shifted, showing complex patterns of quantum energy that pulsed with an almost organic rhythm. Chen's sacrifice created a bridge between human consciousness and quantum reality itself. "We can use this to do more than just disrupt Dominion technology, we can communicate with the quantum field directly." Project Ascension, once merely an advanced weapons program, had become something far more profound. Humanity wasn't just learning to use quantum technology, they were evolving to become one with it. The first generation of quantum-enhanced humans, volunteers who underwent partial consciousness integration like Chen had, demonstrated abilities that bordered on the miraculous. Captain Okafor, commanding the expanded Prometheus fleet from the UES Stormborn, witnessed this evolution firsthand. Her quantum-enhanced crew members could anticipate Dominion movements before they happened, their partially ascended consciousness reading probability patterns in the quantum field itself. The Dominion's response to this development was unexpected. Overseer Xylith, speaking from their last stronghold in the Deneb system, requested a direct meeting with human leadership. The location they chose was deeply symbolic, the same seed vault on Vega 6 where humanity had first discovered their existence. Director Blackwood, accompanied by Admiral Kane and Dr. Park, represented Earth at the historic meeting. The overseer who greeted them seemed diminished somehow, their once imposing presence humbled by recent events. "We have existed for millions of your years," Xylith began, their harmonic voice carrying a new note of uncertainty. "In all that time, we sought to impose perfect order on an chaotic universe. We saw your species as primitive, dangerous in your unpredictability. We never understood that chaos itself could be a path to evolution. The negotiations that followed would reshape the galaxy. The Dominion, its quantum network in ruins, could no longer maintain its vast empire. But they possessed knowledge accumulated over millions of years, knowledge they now offered to share with humanity. Not as masters teaching primitives," Xylith clarified, "but as equals. Perhaps even as students. Your species has achieved in decades what we could not in eons. You've learned to embrace chaos without being consumed by it. The Treaty of Vega established the foundation for what would become the Terran Empire. Humanity would expand into the systems abandoned by the retreating Dominion, but not as conquerors. They would be guardians of a new order, one that balanced chaos and harmony. The seeds of this new civilization were already taking root. Quantum-enhanced humans worked alongside reformed Dominion advisors, learning to understand the deeper mysteries of the universe. The ancient seed vaults, once used to mark territory, were repurposed as teaching centers where both species could study together. 5 years after the Battle of Arcturus, the Terran Empire was formally established. Its symbol, chosen by unanimous consent, depicted a double helix of quantum energy spiraling outward against a field of stars, representing the marriage of order and chaos that humanity had pioneered. Dr. Park, speaking at the inauguration ceremony, summed up the profound changes humanity had undergone. "We went to the stars seeking our destiny, never imagining that destiny would require us to reinvent ourselves. The Dominion tried to force us to submit to perfect order, but instead taught us how to transcend both order and chaos. We are becoming something entirely new, not just a spacefaring species, but pioneers of consciousness itself." In orbit above Earth, the Stormborn prepared for another mission, its quantum core humming with possibilities. Captain Okafor, her own consciousness now partially quantum-enhanced, sensed the patterns of probability spreading out before her ship like ripples in a cosmic ocean. The bridge crew, a mixture of traditional and quantum-enhanced humans, worked in seamless harmony. They were the future of humanity, a species that had learned to dance between order and chaos, to find strength in imperfection, and to turn existential threats into opportunities for transformation. Admiral Kane, watching the ship depart from strategic command, reflected on how far they had come. The Dominion had intended to subjugate humanity, but had instead catalyzed their evolution. The Terran Empire would not rule through perfect order as the Dominion had, but through the dynamic balance of chaos and harmony that humans had always instinctively understood. "We are all quantum beings now," Dr. Volkov had said in his final address before retiring. "The Dominion spent millions of years trying to impose their will on the universe. We learned to listen to it instead, to become part of its dance of probability and possibility. That is our true empire, not one of territory or technology, but of consciousness itself." As the Terran Empire expanded outward, carrying the legacy of Chen's sacrifice and humanity's indomitable spirit to the stars, one thing became clear: the galaxy would never be the same. A new age had begun, born from the chaos of war but promising a future where order and entropy could coexist in dynamic balance, guided by a species that had learned to embrace both.